What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. Hope each of you are well and blessed. Unfortunately, I have a funeral on today. It's a part of the job of being a shepherd over God's people. You all know how that can be something that you never get used to. At least for me, I don't. But in sitting here preparing for today's um, responsibilities that I have, I'm mindful of you resetters, of where you are. All of you in this group have come through the 40-day turn up and or the journey at one point of your past. All of you have been successful because if you weren't, you would not have graduated. All of you have been able to accumulate trophies, and all of you to some degree have given back one, two, or more than that. And being that we're going through this said course of reset, this process, being that you've come through the different chapters, you're working your way through, I would imagine probably some of you are finished, some of you are soon to be finished, some of you are almost finished. What you have to do is you have to be aware of the mistakes that you made so you don't make those mistakes again. For example, early on in my process, I could not have quote unquote bad foods in my house because if I was around those bad foods, it was a trigger for me and it would lead me to unnecessarily desiring something that I know wasn't good for me. Makes sense? I had to learn that traveling was triggering for me. When I would travel, I would enter a different state of mind that would lead me to not adhering to my lifestyle. It's another example. The weekends, I could be disciplined Monday through Friday, or sometimes Monday through Thursday, because there's something about Thursday evenings, Friday morning that you've been conditioned to have a certain way of thinking that was triggering for me. Now, the key is not to eliminate the triggers because I can get rid of food in my house, but I can't stop Thursday and Friday from coming. I can get food out of my house, but I can't stop the times that I need to travel and I will be in the airport or I will be in a distant place. But what I can do is be aware of those triggers in order to be more prepared for that environment. Maybe I move a bit differently. That's what made me, like when I would travel, first thing I would do is go to the supermarket and get my stuff to make it feel like I was at home as much as possible. Now, the longer I did those things, the less triggering they were to me. So your objective in the 40-day turn-up is not to just get results. That should be automatic. You should already know that this process works for you. If it didn't work for you, none of you would be here. But you all need to be in a position a few days before we start to make a promise with yourself that all of the mistakes that I made the last time, I will not make them this time. All the mistakes that I made last time, I will not make them this time. Because when you can read history, you can be more predictive of the future, and there's no better or more relevant history than your own. As a person who's a shepherd of people, as a person who's in the position of power, of authority that God has put me in, what lesson can I learn from a biblical character? Well, pick one. But for me, I'll say Solomon. The Lord visited Solomon in Gibeon, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name. somewhere around 1 Kings. And he came to Solomon and he said to Solomon, what do you want? Solomon prayed for wisdom. He prayed for discernment to see good and evil, to discern good from evil. He prayed for wisdom to be able to lead God's people. You know what God said? Because you haven't asked for things, you haven't asked to destroy your enemies, you haven't asked me to give you long life. God said, I'm going to give you all of that. And I'm going to give you what you asked for. So the favor that Solomon had over his life was because his heart was right. But the mistake he made was when he started to take on foreign wives. And when he took on foreign wives, his heart changed. And his heart started to follow the gods of his wives. And he started to make altars for them. And he started to bow down to those idolatrous gods. And that was the mistake that he made. The mistake that he made was not continuing his righteousness to God. So the way I can have a brighter future, I may not be Solomon, but I can learn from his mistakes. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Now that's Solomon's history. So what you have to do is you have to look in the annals of your own historical slip-ups, trip-ups, mess-ups, screw-ups, whatever you want to call it. And you have to enter this process making a promise to yourself as to, I will not make that mistake again. So I hope this message resonates within you. I hope you receive it. I hope it helps you. I hope it lifts you up. Salute to my amazing administrator, Angie Bingham, my journey administrator, Steph Andrew, to my team doing a great job. Salute to my champions, my advisors, my super advisors, for all of the work you all have done. And salute to each of you. I pray that you come into this with a new mindset, with new inspirations, new aspirations, with a new motivation. All right? As we collectively come together to do great things. Until next time, be well and be blessed. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.